we're gonna start. I just got so nervous. This award season has just been complete and utter chaos. It has been so wide open and up in the air. I truly don't know what to think of this season. Last year we had Oppenheimer emerge in July, and it was pretty clear that was going to be the front runner. Everything Everywhere All at Once arrived in the spring, and people were really rooting for it all year long and just carried it through award season. This year, I really don't know what to think yet. Nothing has emerged quite heavily as a front runner. There are a few surging ahead, but nothing like completely running away with the whole thing. The SAG nominations did just come out. We've got the Directors Guild, but we're still waiting on other guilds to announce. Critics' Choice got moved to the 26th. The BAFTA nominations don't come out to the 15th, but I'm going to attempt to make my final Oscar predictions for the above the line categories. We're going to give it the old college try. I feel like I have a good gauge of the temperature of the season. I feel like I kind of have a clearer picture than I did a couple weeks ago. That being said, there's a lot that could still change, and we are going to talk about it. When the time comes for the actual Oscar ceremony, I will be making my winner predictions in every category, but for now, we're sticking to above the line. We're going to start with original screenplay. Right now, looking at my little chart, I feel good about 3 of these. My 4th, I feel okay about, and then the 5th slot, like with many of these categories you'll see, feels kind of wide open. Right now, my locks are The Brutalist, A Real Pain, and Anora. I think The Brutalist and Anora specifically have a very strong package across the board that will like propel them into this category. And with A Real Pain, besides Kieran Culkin, its other big point of focus is on Jesse Eisenberg's screenplay. At number 4, I have The Substance. The Substance won Best Screenplay back at Cannes, and since the movie's release in September, it has just kind of been steadily gaining momentum, and it is looking like a major contender in more than just actress and hair and makeup. It overperformed at the Globes, and I think it has been fairly consistent in other precursors. At number 5, I think this might be a bit more of a hope diction, but I'm going with Challengers. Challengers has been largely overlooked this season, and I don't think it's going to get a ton of Academy love, but I think this is the place to recognize it. I can see the Academy wanting to give Challenger something, and this being the place they do it, especially if it gets like score and song as well. I think like that could really help its case. Also, a lot of the FYC screenings they've been doing have been focusing on the screenwriting. A couple of outliers for this category: we have Hard Truths, the Mike Leigh film, All We Imagine Is Light, and The Seed of the Sacred Fig. All We Imagine Is Light could definitely be like this year's Anatomy of a Fall. It wasn't selected for Best International Feature, but it has great reception, and it has had legs this award season. Not the biggest strongest legs, but it has legs, so I could see that being the surprise here. Best Adapted Screenplay. I only feel comfortable locking in one as like for sure, and that's Conclave. It won the Golden Globe, and the Golden Globes combine the screenplay categories into one. Conclave is getting in. 2 through 5, I'm just kind of going on a wing and a prayer. I have Nickel Boys. Nickel Boys hasn't been performing super strong this season, but I do think if it's going to show up, in addition to like cinematography, it could show up here. Number 3, I have Wicked. I think it's been getting a lot of love across the board, specifically from American awards bodies, and I do think it could show up here, especially given that it looks like it's going to be pretty strong in a lot of the tech categories as well. You've got 2 acting contenders. You've got it gunning for picture. I think it could really carry along into this category as well. I have Dune Part 2 next. I feel okay about this. I'm just like a little worried because Dune came out so long ago. I fear maybe it's lost its momentum. I feel like recency bias may overpower Dune Part 2, but I do think in addition to playing real strong in the technical categories, it will make an appearance here. And then I have Sing Sing. I think Sing Sing has been underperforming all season long. It's been a real bummer to watch it get overlooked left and right. But right now, as it stands, based on the precursors we do have, I think it's kind of going to go the similar route as Past Lives. I think it'll be like a picture, screenplay, and like you have Coleman Domingo with the acting category. I think that's kind of where it's going to go. It's going to be like a little 3 package. Some outliers that you definitely should not overlook. I have Emilia Perez. The power of that movie is blowing my mind, but do not doubt it. Also look out for The Wild Robot. Wild Robot is pretty well loved. I think it did really well, and it's an adaptation of a beloved property. I could see it happening. I also have A Complete Unknown. A Complete Unknown has surpassed a lot of my expectations. It is performing really well, and it is only gaining steam. I actually am kind of contemplating now moving it into my 5. Like right now as I film it, the more I look at this list, the more I want to move that on up. Actually, you know what? We're going to leave it for now. But if it does get nominated, remember, I said it could happen. And then another one, maybe, but this feels a little more wishful, is Nosferatu. That would be a really cool nom. For supporting actor, after those SAG nominations, I think both supporting categories are actually going to be super chaotic. I thought I kind of had them down, but after those SAG noms, I don't feel so certain anymore. The one I feel absolutely rock solid about is Kieran Culkin, A Real Pain. He's been sweeping the critics groups. He's already off to a great start with the Globes. I will be shocked if his name is not called on nomination morning. Next, I have Guy Pearce. I know he got overlooked for SAG, but I really just feel like The Brutalist is strong enough where he will show up on Oscar morning. 3, Yura Borisov, Anora. I just think he has been consistently crushing it and gaining steam in his campaign. 4 is Edward Norton. He's been showing up, and like I just said, A Complete Unknown has been performing very well. Very well. And I really only think it's going to continue to grow. So Edward Norton, I think he'll be there. The number 5 slot feels very tricky, to be honest. Right now, I have Jeremy Strong for The Apprentice. I think after that SAG nomination, it really boosted him. My only thing is I just feel like it would be odd for him to be nominated for The Apprentice, but not Sebastian Stan. And I don't think Sebastian Stan is going to get nominated for Best Actor, but more on that later. Just below, I have Clarence Macklin for Sing Sing. If there was justice in this world, he would be the front runner. He easily gave my favorite supporting performance of the year. Just an incredible revelatory piece of work. He's been missing a lot of precursors, though. They have been overlooking him left and right, so I don't think he's going to make it into that final 5. I would love it, but I don't see it happening. At 7, I have Denzel. I took Denzel out. I just don't think the hype for Gladiator 2 is really there. There's just a little bit more passion for the 5 I mentioned earlier. I'll have to circle back after I see what happens with BAFTA. He was longlisted for BAFTA, so we'll see. And then at number 8, I have Jonathan Bailey for Wicked. His name showing up with the SAG nominations was crazy. I loved it, but I was not expecting it. I don't know that it'll happen, but I keep thinking of Sterling K. Brown in American Fiction. He didn't show up at earlier precursors, and then he showed up at SAG, and then made it into the Oscar 5. I think American Fiction was a little bit more warmly received than Wicked, but if Wicked does really well, I could see him maybe coming along for the ride. Supporting actress, 2 locks. I said this in my Golden Globes predictions, but it is between Zoe Saldana and Ariana Grande. I have Zoe Saldana ahead after the Golden Globes, but it's those 2. The rest of the squad, I don't know what to think anymore after the SAG nominations, because Danielle Deadwyler showed up at SAG, and I had taken her out because she was getting egregiously overlooked. But then we also saw Jamie Lee Curtis pop in there, and Margaret Qualley and Isabella Rossellini and Felicity Jones all missed, even though they had been showing up all season long. So I'm a little out of sorts. I'm gonna go with my gut. I'm gonna say Isabella Rossellini in 3rd, Felicity Jones in 4th for The Brutalist, and then I have Margaret Qualley at 5. I think Margaret Qualley has really overperformed all season long. I think she's gotten a lot of critics nods that really kind of propelled her narrative forward. I think a lot of people thought she was in the 6th slot, but I think she's strong, especially if the substance overperforms. Felicity Jones, I feel good keeping here. Like I said with Guy Pearce, I think The Brutalist is going to be pretty well received come Oscar nominations, and I think she'll get in there with that wave. Danielle Deadwyler is currently at my 6. I just feel like she's been overlooked all season long in The Piano Lesson, hasn't had a strong showing. Netflix kind of pivoted and put all their eggs in the Emilia Perez basket, so I think the momentum really deflated. But I think SAG kept some wind in her sails, so it's not out of the question. And 7, I have Jamie Lee Curtis for The Last Showgirl. That That Sagnon really surprised me, but she's really well liked by her peers. She is campaigning hard for Pamela Anderson, and Pamela Anderson herself is just campaigning, and I think she's kind of taking Jamie along with her. I could really see it. And then at 8, I have Ingenue Ellis Taylor for Nickel Boys. I would love her to be in there. I would love to be like confidently, yes, her. She is one of my favorite performances of 2024. I just don't think Nickel Boys has had the heft behind it this season, which is really a shame. Lead actor, I think we have our Oscar 5 off of the SAG 5. I think it's going to be Adrian, Timothy, Coleman, Rafe, and Daniel. I think that's the Oscar 5. The like dark horse surprise is Sebastian Stan, either The Apprentice or A Different Man. He took home the Globe for A Different Man, so maybe that'll propel him in there. Like I said earlier, it would be kind of weird for Jeremy Strong to get in for The Apprentice and not Sebastian Stan. So I feel like if Jeremy Strong gets in, I think like Sebastian Stan can take that 5th slot and kind of upset, but I feel like pretty set on that 5. And because I feel so set, I'm questioning myself, because it's never that easy. Lead actress, I think the top 2 slots, locked. It's those bottom 3 that are a bloodbath. In my 1 and 2 slot, I have Demi Moore for The Substance and Mikey Madison and Nora. Demi winning that Globe and that speech, really great for her and her journey. I would be shocked if Mikey Madison doesn't show up in that final 5. She has had the praise and the love all season long. I don't think she's the front runner to win, but I will be shocked if she's not there. Number 3, I have Cynthia Erivo for Wicked, and 4, Carla Sofia Gascon for Emilia Perez. I feel solid. They've shown up everywhere. However, as we've seen in seasons past, there's always like one who shows up everywhere and then gets left off when it comes to the big one. And I think it could maybe be one of these 2 or Daniel Craig for Queer. I would love it to not be Cynthia. I could see Carla getting left out, although the Emilia Perez hype train is very real. So I don't know. I have them in there though. But if either of them were to like miss, I don't know that I would be necessarily shocked. But I will be furious if Cynthia misses. Number 5, I truly am at a loss of what to do here. I think the Golden Globe win was really great for Fernanda Torres's campaign, so I'm going with her in my 5th slot. My only like reason I don't feel as strong is because she didn't get longlisted at the BAFTAs, and I think if she was going to show up in another precursor, that would have been the place to do it. So that's my only like hesitation. And then just on the outside, I have 3 kind of duking it out for the 5th slot. Angelina Jolie for Maria. At one point, I thought she was going to win this back in July, but she has been so like inconsistently showing up, and she missed the SAG. Marianne Jean-Baptiste for Hard Truths. I think she showed up for Critics' Choice, and she's BAFTA longlisted. I will be shocked if she's not nominated for the BAFTA. She's won like the trifecta of critics groups. It's a great performance. It's just been very inconsistent, and it's kind of wild that she doesn't feel like a lock, but I could see her getting that 5th slot. At number 8, I have Pamela Anderson, The Last Showgirl. I think the Globe was great, and I think that SAG nomination kind of boosted her a little bit. The film is going wide as of recording this weekend. So I think like that rollout might help her too. She's got the narrative. We will see. But I really think it's a bloodbath for that 5th slot. I'm scared. Director, I think Brady Corbet is sweeping. I think it's going to be a Brady Corbet sweep. Sean Baker and Jacques Audiard, I would be shocked if they are not called. They made pretty much every precursor up until this point, so I feel good about them. And number 4, I have Coralie Farjah for The Substance. I am so mad she did not show up at the DGA, but DGA rarely goes 5 for 5. I feel like she has had the most momentum of the like outliers all season. I think The Substance has a lot of passion behind it. I think she'll get it. Number 5, I have Edward Berger for Conclave. I think Conclave is well directed. He's been showing up everywhere, but I just feel like it is a very straightforward film, and it's not super flashy or over the top. And I feel like maybe they'll like swing in favor of someone else, like doing something a little like flashier or bigger, if that makes sense. With awards, I always say it's for the best, not the most, but a lot of people tend to go for the most, you know? If things were just, Ramel Ross would be like number 1 No lineup is complete without this man, in my opinion. Best direction of the year, him and Coralie. I don't understand how they're not like sweeping and running away with the whole thing. I also have Payal Kapadia for All We Imagine Is Light. She got the Golden Globe nom. She showed up at the first feature for DGA along with Rimmel. I think there's passion for that film, so I could see it happening. Okay, Best Picture. My like top tier locks. I will be shocked if they are not called. Conclave. I think Conclave is winning Best Picture. I'm sticking with it. As of January 9th recording, Conclave Best Picture. Could change. Then I have Emilia Perez, The Brutalist, Anora, and Wicked. I feel really good about those. They've been showing up where they need to across the board. They all have really strong and bountiful awards packages. My middle tier where I feel like okay is Dune Part 2 and The Substance. I think they have the passion behind them. I think they have the awards package. The Substance specifically just hasn't been the most like consistent, so I could see a world maybe where it doesn't get in there. Also, it is like a body horror film, so I could see people being turned off from that. And Dune Part 2 is like a sequel to this sci-fi spectacle, and while the first one did well, Dune Part 2 doesn't seem to have like the gusto this award season. Like I said, it came out in March, so I feel like it just doesn't have the momentum, but I think they'll show up. And number 8, I have A Complete Unknown. I've said it many times. It's really gaining steam. It overperformed at SAG. 9, I have A Real Pain. I think it's got the supporting in the screenplay. I think it's like a nice little indie drama. They love like including like a Sundance fave in there. And at 10, it pains me because I had this at 1 in July. Sing Sing. I think that rollout was fumbled big time, and just the way it's been consistently overlooked and underperforming, I don't feel as good about it. I think there's still hope. And then some outliers to keep an eye out for. Nickel Boys, perhaps. I would love it to show up here. All We Imagine Is Light. I think that could be a real dark horse. That would be amazing. And if the Academy was cool, Nosferatu would show up here. I think Nosferatu is gonna do pretty well in the technicals. That could propel it in high favor, but I don't think it's happening. But one can dream. Those are my predictions. Check back in to see how I did when the nominations come. And make sure you do all the things you're supposed to do with the channel. Make sure you subscribe, like, and follow me everywhere because I'm covering award season all season long. We can spiral together. And in addition to that, I will be doing reviews and lists. So yeah, come along for the ride. Bye!